welcome to my session on metacognition, strategies to enhance remembering. My name is Vikki Peverell. I am Assistant Learning Leader of English and ITT Coordinator at Huxlow Science College, and I'm so excited to be part of this day today. I hope you're having a great day. Let's crack on. So this session is just going to briefly go over what is metacognition, why use it as a tool for teaching and learning, and how we can use it to enhance your teaching and the students' outcomes. So what is metacognition? Meta, from the Greek, meaning beyond or more comprehensive, and it comes from the Latin as well, meaning to learn. So it's really important that students are, and we are as well, explicitly aware of how they learn, and they can actively monitor their own learning, and it's learning from the process to help reach the ultimate goal. So it's made of two elements: metacognitive knowledge and regulation. The knowledge element being made of the learner's awareness of their cognitive abilities, whilst the regulation refers to how learners monitor and respond to their cognitive processes. Being able to consider, monitor and control how you learn and how you think and how you overcome struggles are vital qualities to build in our students, more so now than ever. So interestingly, today, a person is subjected to more information in a day than a person in the Middle Ages was in their entire life. So that is quite a lot to take in, obviously, and quite a lot to understand and comprehend. Therefore, how do we know and how do we teach and show our students what's important, what's worth keeping, and how we can help them to remember what they need to remember? Obviously, with the newly reformed exams, it means that students have to recall so much more information. They have to memorise certain things, but this doesn't always lead to deeper level thinking. And metacognition is a way that we can use a strategy that we can build in to help them with these. Learning happens when people have to think hard. I think that's so true. If something's been difficult, then that means you have learnt from it, you've understood something that you didn't know in the first place. And if you've understood that process of how you got there, then that can have a massive impact when you go in further. So I think that's really key. Just a little bit of a test about knowledge versus familiarity. How well do you know a 50p coin? You've probably seen it thousands of times, so we should all know about it. So think about the front of a 50p coin for me. I can tell you there is an image of Britannia, but can you tell me what's on her left hand, what's on her right hand, what is on the shield, what's on her head, and what is on her feet? You might get some answers. I couldn't tell you any of those, not a single one. But here it is in all its glory. Okay, here's a 50p pence piece, so you can see the answers to those questions. But this just highlights the shallow repetition. We haven't thought about it, but we're familiar with it, but we don't know it. Okay, so there's lots of things that the students will know and will have thought about, but actually they don't know it and they can't retrieve it and they can't then apply it. So how you think about the material determines what will end up in your long-term memory. So whatever you think about is what you remember. Here is a lovely example of metacognition. So Freya fiddled with her pencil case. Every Friday she would experience a quiet dread when facing the weekly spelling test. This week, though, she felt more confident than ever. After a couple of weeks characterised by annoying mistakes, she had worked hard in readiness for this week's test. She had devised two of her own mnemonics, and she had practised her LE ending words as well as surprise with an R repeatedly. As Mr. Thomas began the spelling test, Freya listened hard. She knew that sometimes she would feel little pressure when her teacher moved quickly on to the next spelling, but that this week she would listen carefully and remember what she'd practised. One or two words were no doubt tricky, but Freya had weighed up her options each time, and she was utterly confident of her success. Before Mr. Thomas had a chance to cycle through the correct spellings, Freya sat up straight with a smile lighting up her face, fueled by quiet satisfaction. She'd already thought about her new spelling routine and how she would stick to it next week too. So this just goes to show this happens all day long, every day in classrooms. The actions and thoughts of Freya as she's learning her spelling inside and outside of the school, inside and outside the classroom, are simply typical stuff that happens every day. And yet much of her thinking and strategies remain hidden and implicit in the classroom. Her success is instructive. So Freya exhibits the thoughts and actions of a successful self-regulated learner, and she employs crucial metacognitive strategies. Why does this matter? Well, there's a strong body of research from psychology and education demonstrating the importance of metacognition and self-regulation to effective pupil learning. Sutton Trust and the Education Endowment Foundation summarise lots of international evidence, and they have found that metacognition and self-regulation is a high-impact, low-cost approach to improving the attainment of disadvantaged learners. But what is it? Essentially, self-regulation is about the extent to which learners like Freya are aware of their strengths and weaknesses and the strategies they use to learn. It describes how they can motivate themselves to engage in learning and develop strategies to enhance their learning and to improve. It will look different for learners of different ages and for different tasks, but teachers will recognise these characteristics in their most effective learners. So why use it as a tool? Too often we teach students what to think, but not how to think. And I think it's a really interesting viewpoint, and encouraging and engaging students to think about how they learn, the struggles they experience and how they overcome them, and how to apply that to future learning is essential to building independence in the classroom. This will make them resilient learners, not only in our classroom, but in the future too. And I think that is so vital, especially during this time. As I mentioned earlier, why use it as a tool? Well, actually, evidence suggests that by using metacognitive strategies and getting students to think about their own learning, they can actually put on an additional 7 months progress when used well. So why not do it? Why not give it a go? There are a couple of misconceptions about metacognition. Metacognition is only developed in older children. That's not true. Okay, it's not something that you say for year 11 or sixth form. Metacognition can be used from the very beginning of secondary school, primary school. There's even, I think there's been studies as well where children as young as 3 have been able to engage in a wide range of metacognitive and self-regulatory behaviours, such as setting themselves goals and checking their understanding. So absolutely, if you embed this from the beginning, you can absolutely nail it, really. Moving on to another misconception is that it's a general skill that can be separated from subject knowledge. This is probably one of the largest misconceptions. It's not it's not an add-on, it complements what you're doing. The clues in the name, cognition, so there has to be some prior learning, there has to be some understanding. You can't ask a child to write an essay on Romeo and Juliet and to think about what they did wrong last time and how they can do it better if they've got no understanding or no foundation of the play itself. So they need to have that knowledge in the first place. Another misconception, metacognition is just for the clever ones. Not true, okay? Yes, they need to have that understanding. They do need to have that understanding to start off with. But it's now more important than ever to make sure that we're delivering quality first teaching to all our students to move forward after this lockdown period, and metacognition can go hand in hand with this. So, what effective tools can we do and use? So before a task, students can use metacognitive thinking to think about which strategy has worked previously for something similar and what the best first step may be. During a task, they can be assessing and thinking, making sure they're staying on track and what they've done so far, and is that working or is that not? What do they need to change? Finally, after a task, we can have a debrief and we can think about what we can do to move forward. I've got this as a Word document, which I'm more than happy to send across. So contact me on Twitter and I'll also make sure it's available too. My handle's just on the link on the screen there for you. But these are just a list of some questions that you can be using to promote metacognition in your classrooms. There's some starter activities, there's some actual tasks, and there's some sort of quick fixes or strategies that you can use, which will be really helpful. Also as well, we've got the Education Endowment Foundation, who are incredible. Okay, such a wealth of resources. This is a step-by-step guide. I definitely have a little look at this. It's really, really, really useful. There's loads of resources on here that I've used to make this PowerPoint. I've shared with Huxlow. Massive thanks to the Twitter community for everything. There's a few special thank yous at the bottom for all their help and resources. Follow them on Twitter, they're incredible. And there's some other links as well. Just to finish, there's some questions to consider moving forward with your teaching. So I'll leave you time to have a look at those and think about how you can move forward with metacognition. So all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for listening. It's been great to be part of this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.